Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. I set myself a challenge to use a whole book, just like this, exactly the same, and to make stuff with it. I said to myself, because I love a challenge, I said to myself, what stuff can I make with this one book? Well, I made a lot of stuff, a mountain of stuff that extends beyond this screen. You can't even see everything. All of this from one book, 25 categories, but 124 individual things. In this video, I'll show you the things, but we'll go by categories, and at the end of the video, you'll have a list so you don't forget all the things that you can make. Let's dive in. Starting off with category number 1, which is texture. So we usually stick book pages down flat for collages and stuff, but have you ever scrunched them up like this and glued them down? I don't know, I've never done it before, and there's a first for everything, and that's why this rather silly category is number 1. So here's just an example of how you can utilize this texture in your projects. Here I used it on my journal cover, and I just want to make sure that you can see that it's hard to see this in the video, but when I touch this, I can feel all the bumps. So it's quite, I wouldn't say 3D, but you can see the texture. It's not flat. And you can even, I did flatten it out. So I scrunched it up, glued it down, and flattened it down. But you can leave it even, more sort of 3D, more scrunched up. So I made a journal here, a spiral bound journal, and just so I can demonstrate in this video. And these are cardstock pages, but the main star of this category is of course the journal cover, and utilizing that texture of the book pages and then texture of the paper here. So okay, that's category number 1. Really simple. Just get your book pages, scrunch them up, rip the edges, ink the edges, and glue them down. All right, moving on to category number 2, which is paper ruffle roll, which is this beauty. And I'll come back to this in a second. I just wanted to say, I forgot to mention with this, you can do so many things with this. You can apply gesso over the top and have this crunched up thing. You can do sprays, you can do paints, you can do collages with this, which is kind of what I did over here. There's just so many directions that this can take you. I didn't explore it. I just did this and the journal cover and called it done. But this is definitely a technique I'll be using in the future, and I cannot believe I actually never did it before. All right, now we're done with category number 1. Category number 2, paper ruffle roll. I have done this kind of thing in the past. In fact, I have a tutorial, and I'm going to link it down below. This was an immensely popular video. Only in that tutorial I didn't do it with book pages. So these are all book pages, and also what you see here on the top, this is all kind of ruffled. I'm not sure how much that's coming across, so you can see those little pleated, let's say. And then these little strips that you can see on top here, I placed them on top just to make the ruffle roll a little bit more fun, even though book pages alone would also look great. And those pieces that you can see on top, are the cut-offs from 12 by 12 paper, you know, these bottom bits, the barcode little bits. Anyway, they always have this kind of fun stuff on them, and of course I keep all of that. And even like leftover paper strips from projects when I'm cutting down papers, I keep those too. So like this one, you'll see in my paper ruffle roll. So I made about, I think I have about maybe 3 meters here, 5 meters here. And I always use this kind of thing in my project. I think it looks absolutely stunning, and I just wanted to point this one out. I inked it a little bit, but that's just left over from just cut-offs, you know. All right, so how would you use this kind of thing in your project? Well, I'll just give you one example. There's plenty, but this is just as an example. I usually use it on page edges, just like this. What I would do is just glue down onto the, you know, cut off here, and glue down on my project. It can be tops of bags, it can be on envelopes. Imagine your envelope and then this little flap. Also, when I'm using paper bags in journals, you know, as pockets and things, I use that also on the side like so. And it's just, you cannot deny. Look how much fun this is. And let me tell you, I made this video in 2019. And it was a very popular video back then. And people have been, I mean, I'm not saying I invented this, but what I'm saying is that most likely you have seen this kind of thing before. Maybe not on a roll like this. And you have it next to you when you're crafting, you can just grab it and start gluing away. Categories number 3 is circle embellishments. Well, isn't this fun? Look how gorgeously beautiful this looks. Just some circle embellishment, circles, punched out circles that I then staggered on top of each other and made these beautiful embellishments that can be used in our crafts in so many different ways. And also you can see that I used some scrapbook paper as well here and there, just to add a little bit of color and a little bit of cheesecloth and a button on top, and you know, just little things like a little bit of mesh you can see over there, just some fun stuff. So I just want to point this out at this stage. This here is actually 3 pages glued together, and in some of the projects that are going to come up, you know, this is the kind of thing that I did. So basically the pages in these books, or in most books really, are very kind of fragile, kind of thin. So when you're doing punch out shapes and die cuts and all that sort of stuff, it's quite thin, right? When you're making things like this, you want a little bit of structure. So what I did, like I said, I glued 3 pages down together using a glue stick. Cover it with glue stick all over, and cover this with glue stick all over, and you have now 3 pages, and then you have something that feels like this, almost like cardstock, as opposed to flimsy paper. Just another little up-close glimpse. I did a video a while ago with all the things that you can do with circles, you know. So I'll link that down below just in case if you want to have a look. But it's really quite straightforward. You just punch out circles and then you go to town. All right, moving along. Oh, I love this one. Category number 4. A little bit random, but it's beeswax. And I mean, you can do this with plenty of tutorials out there, by the way. You can do it with baby oil or candles and stuff like that. But first of all, let me show you what we have, and then we shall discuss. Look at this. Isn't that just, it's like translucent paper. It's like aged, old vellum. And just to kind of show you how it looks like before you do anything to it. Yes. And then after the beeswax. All right, now let me just say that on last weekend I was at this fair thing, and there was a bee guy with his bees and selling honey and things like that, and I saw beeswax. I saw this and I thought, oh, that looks so yummy. I was like, I'm gonna buy, they were $2 each, so I thought I'm gonna buy this to wax my thread for journal binding. Okay, not expensive at all, right? I asked him, you know, do you have a little bag I can put it in? And he said, no, I'm sorry, I don't have a bag, but you can just put it into your bag just as it is, and it's not going to ruin anything in your bag. So I was like fished around my bag for a tissue because I didn't want to just shove this in my bag like so. and I put it in the tissue. And then a few days later, because you know, that's how I roll, I took this out and I realized, hang on, it didn't like stain anything and it didn't leave any marks. These little bits that you can see, it's coming from this one that I was grating for this project. We're getting to this, I promise. And I thought to myself, well, perhaps I can use like this to make translucent paper. So I have tried this translucent paper thing many times in the past, and I never liked it because, first of all, if you use any kind of oil, I feel like after a while it's gonna stain whatever is next to it. And it's a risk I'm not willing to take. Oh, no. And the candle thing, I didn't want to try a candle because I felt the same about the candle as well. Because I thought it's oily, it's gonna stain pages next to it. But I can't 100% say this isn't gonna do that. I did test it out, but it's only been a few days, like less than a week. And I kind of put a page in between and I kind of had it pressed down just to see if it's going to stain, and it hasn't stained and it's not sticking. The only issue that I have with this is that it smells very, very strongly of beeswax, which I don't really mind, but when I say strongly, I mean very strongly. Well, I can really smell that beeswax. Okay, this, because it's like translucent paper, it almost looks like it's not English. It's English writing here, but you can see the writing that's on the back as well. And that's why it kind of looks writing over writing. It's just, I wish you could feel this and see it in real life. And how I did it is I did all the precautions of protecting my surface and all of that kind of stuff. And I had baking paper. Then I put my book page on top of baking paper. Then I grated the beeswax, okay, and then I put another baking paper on top and ironed it so it instantly melts the beeswax into the page, into the paper. I had fun experimenting, and this is definitely something I'm going to explore further. Yes, I will. I just wanted to say that you can buy pellets like beeswax, little tiny little pellets, so you don't have to grate, because that was pretty annoying. You can buy them in craft stores and places like that, but they're so expensive. They're like crazy expensive just because they're in little pellets. So I don't know. Category number 5 is envelopes, and I know you knew it was coming. I know. So here they are. I made a whole bunch of envelopes. I don't know if I said I made 124 things in total, and here's what I mean. Like envelopes, this category, I made 13 envelopes. And they're so gorge and easy to make. So you just fold the book page and you make yourself a little envelope. And then, you know, you can stitch around like I did, because I think I just love the stitching and how it looks. But absolutely, you can just use glue and then go ahead and embellish your envelopes. You can see I have a little bit of lace. Very easy to make it real pretty. A bit of lace, a bit of shiny little blingy pieces, or you can do something like this. This is just stickers, right? And we have more stickers, and we have washi tape, and look, beautiful black and gold washi tape. And then of course I added the gold bling, because again, that's how I roll. And then we have some more washi tape, and here's just a plain one, because you know, you can just have a plain one. And then I played around with a different type of an envelope, so like a pointy flap envelope, like so. And we have the butterfly, and then we have this, like a faux, what's it called? I'm losing my words. You know, those faux stamp. Darn it, I can't think of it, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So just to quickly do a little bit of a demonstrato, just in case if you haven't done this thing before, I'm gonna put this here so I can inspire your creative juices. Now this book page is in fact stained, but that's coming from this book. So I think like the whole book is falling apart. See all that staining there? I don't know why. Why do I feel the need? I just didn't want you to think that, you know, I lied about the beeswax. All right, so here's a very simple envelope. So if you want your writing to go the right way up, when you start your folding, you have it upside down. Very easy peasy. So when you fold it, you know, your writing is the right way up. So here's another one, very simple. And then you go ahead and you trim the sides so it's nice and straight, and then you sew the edges or you glue them down, and then you already have your envelope. And then you can just go to town with the embellishments. It really doesn't take that long. It doesn't take a lot of work, and you get yourself some gorge little envelopes. And now if you wanted to make this one here, so when making this type of thing, it's all about the width of your paper. So I'll just show you what I mean. Basically, this is the system that you kind of use. You kind of make that point in the middle. Okay, there's your flap. And now you will see what I mean about the width of the envelope. This, oh, I didn't fold that down very straight, but it doesn't matter. This envelope, piece of paper is too wide. So here's what happens when I try to make an envelope, okay? You know, nothing wrong with this one, but this isn't the kind of thing that you're probably going for. So if you can see these here, they are a lot narrower than my other envelopes. See? So I just kind of trimmed them down. I do usually use my ruler and X-Acto knife so that I get a nice straight line. Oh, that's probably a bit too much, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how narrow it is, but it definitely has to be a little bit narrow, more on the narrow side rather than the wide side. So then when you go to do your thing, you do this, try and get, the way that I try and make sure that it's in the middle, this point, is by looking at the bottom down here. So when they meet, I want them to be nice and straight. And then you fold it down, and then you fold this up. Lovely. And here's what you have. And then you go from here. But if you want the writing the right way up, remember you have to start with your book page upside down. Okay, so I'll just do this again. Isn't that just so fabulous and so easy? And now you ink the edges. Of course, you sew this down, make it into an envelope. And also what I like to do is apply glue. I use glue stick, because really it just needs to be held down. And that's it. Very simple. Look how beautiful. And of course, I like the sewing, and that's why I do the sewing, but you absolutely don't have to. I'm sure you know that. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. I didn't get a chance to do this. I have a video and I've done this in the past, which is how I have this project. But of course, you can also do this kind of thing where you cover your book page with some sort of a fabric, like really thin fabric, and then you make your envelopes. This makes them quite sturdy. It's gorge. Okay, let's move on. Category number 6, fun, is charms. You can probably make a million of these with one book. All right, first of all, I made these as charms that can be hung on journals and things like that, and all that kind of jazz. You can make earrings, you can make pendants, you can make, key rings and all sorts of stuff. So with this kind of thing, you can see I just cut out shapes. I do have some dies that I used. You can see here. And I just want to mention that this kind of thing, you also want sturdy book page. So this was also 3 book pages stuck together. And I really make sure that the whole page is covered in my glue stick, because I don't want, you can see, like, I don't want anything coming apart when my project is cut out. Edges not so much, but even edges, I was very particular with covering it with glue stick. So make yourself a nice sturdy looking book image and go to town using your die cuts or cutting out little tag shapes. And then, as you can see, I added just some little die cuts or little images just to make it more fun. You can add bling pieces and laces and anything really that comes to mind. But I wanted to keep it nice and simple, so I went with a little bit of cheesecloth and some die cuts, and I made these gorgeous. Let me just show you one because it's a little bit overwhelming with all of them. I have these bob pins, but you can use like those. My words are escaping me today. One of these, you know, and then it can be attached onto anything really. So that's a category that I simply had to explore. All right, let's stop talking. Let's move on. Categories number 7 is a masterboard. Okay, I know you knew this is coming, but bear with me. This is going to take us places. Here is just a very simple masterboard, just a piece of 12 by 12 paper that I covered in book pages. I didn't do any inking of the edges, but I did rip up the edges of the paper, and I have the writing going all different ways. I didn't want writing all in one way. All right, and then from here you can go to town with so many you know what a masterboard is. I'm sure you've either heard of them, made them, seen them, and if you haven't, well, my goodness, a flood is coming your way. I mean, like a good flood, like creativity, the creative flood that the muse sends, because masterboards are just, you know, a canvas, and you can do so much stuff. So what kind of stuff can you do? Well, you can go ahead and stamp away, my friend. Use all your stamps and just make that stamping masterboard galore is what we have here. So with the masterboard, you can glue things down, you can sew things on, you can paint things on, you can do all of those things all at once. I kept it really simple, and it's all nice and flat. There's nothing but book pages and my stamps and 3 different inks. And then I did this kind of thing, and you can do this with your ugly scrapbook paper that you really don't like very much. You can just perhaps glue a few pieces of book pages down. You don't even have to cover the whole thing. You can add some gesso over the top, and then you can start stamping, and you create this beautiful thing, which then you can use in your projects. You can make it into a journal cover, or lots of other things, such as tags, for example, or journaling spots. Look how cute. Just cut out this is a journaling spot. I have a bit of sewing around. I have a little bit of a fabric thing on top, and I did seal this. Not necessary, but the stamps that I use are all archival, which means that they are not water soluble. So when I go over it with wet medium, it's not going to smudge. That's very important. That you don't need to seal anything. But I was planning on kind of using watercoloring, which I didn't do for this video, but I wanted to add a bit of watercolor and things like that, and that's why I sealed it with, I think it was this that I used, glue and seal. Yeah, definitely this one. It just seals your project basically, and I thought it's going to add a little bit of shine, which didn't, but it does have a beautiful feel. Anyway, I made tags, and I have these beautiful little things that I can add to my journals. You see, look how beautiful this is. Isn't it just gorgeous? All right, so if you haven't noticed, that was category 7, 8, 9. We did masterboard, stamp over book pages, and made tags. And now category number 10 is, of course, making whole journals. This was a video that I made last week, so we shan't dwell, my lovelies. If you want to have a look at this, I shall be linking this video in the description down below, along with all the other videos that I mentioned. But basically, we used book pages that have been torn edges and inked edges, and we made gorge little journals. Look at this. Okay, sorry, I'll stop saying gorge. Sometimes when I get stuck on a word, I keep repeating it over and over. I'm sure the internet would give me some type of a diagnosis. So isn't it just gorgeous? There we go. Just rip that book page is really quite simple, right? Inked edges, glued down. This is contact paper, all done in that video, which you've probably seen, but if you haven't, you can go ahead and have a little looky look. So another non-dwellage category this was. Gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, moving along. To say that I'm excited about category number 11, which is handmade paper, is an understatement. So when I was making this project, I was ripping up book pages just like this. so that I can get, you know, these kinds of pieces with the ripped edges. Then I then go ahead and ink and glue down. And then what happens, you have a whole bunch of this. Now, if I'm gonna do a video and give myself a challenge of using up a whole book, then if I throw this away, I'm not using up a whole book. So in comes the project that I'm so excited about. And the reason why I'm so excited about it is because I have never in my life done this before. I have never made handmade paper. Like, I made this. I made paper. Well, I didn't cut down the trees and all that kind of stuff. I made paper from paper, which really is quite silly, isn't it? I'm gonna rip up paper so I can make paper. But paper I made. And I'm going to say that it took 2 hours to do this. 2 hours of ripping up the book pages. Then they had to soak. I might do a video one day when I'm a pro. I want to become like real good and do all sorts of fun stuff. And then I'll do a video. I'm not going to do it now when I, you know, just kind of tried this out. But basically you soak the paper and all of that, and then you make the pulp, and then you use the thing, and then you make the paper. And like I said, I'll do a video, but I just wanted to show you up close. Look at this. Isn't this just beautiful, beautiful texture? And so many things that I can use this for. But I'm going to tell you right now, I will be hoarding this, of course. It's my very first attempt at paper making. I was doing it late at night, and I thought, oh, what if I put some petals and things like that in there? And then I'm like, I'm not going to go outside now looking for petals. So that's why I have this weird sparkly business, because I thought, well, I haven't got any petals, so I'm just going to put this on there. I don't even know what it is. Little flakes of something. And of course, when my paper dried, then I embossed it because I think it looks just so stunning. Look at the other side. I don't know about these flakes. I'm going to try and get them off somehow. And then look at this. Isn't that beautiful? So you'll notice this color here is how the paper came out with just the book pages. And by the way, I only used the book pages. I did not add any other stuff. No colored paper, scrapbook paper, nothing like that. But you might notice a pink tinge, especially over here. I'll tell you what this is in a moment. And that's because I thought, well, what if I add a little bit of food coloring? So the water was pretty red, but the paper came out very pale. You can see just very pale pink. Do you know how many years I have been wanting to make handmade paper? Years and years and years, but I don't have the equipment. Anyway, what this here was, it's been 2 hours since I started making this. I'm tired, my back is hurting, I've had enough, but I still have some pulp left. So what I did is I took it out with my hands and smushed it down, poured it down in a towel, like made little patties and smushed it right down, thinking that I'm gonna reuse the pulp, because you can dry it like this, or like in bowls, you can make, that's what I was initially gonna do. And then just let them dry, and then next time you're making paper, reblend. But anyway, I made these little patties, flattened them down, and when they dried, I was like, oh, maybe I can ink the edges and see how they're gonna look. Oh, and then I thought maybe I can emboss them. Look at this. Isn't that just beautiful? Then I tried inking it and I thought, oh, well, that's not looking good. So anyway, there it is. Handmade paper. By the way, since you may have noticed that most of these things I'm showing and not like making on screen, and if there's anything you want to see a tutorial on apart from the things I've already got a tutorial on, please let me know as we, you know, progress through the video. Category number 12 is pen holders. Now this I actually do have a tutorial on, and this is just, in that tutorial there's all different ways that you can make a pen holder. See, it's a little pen coffin, really. That's what these remind me of. I don't know why I said that. Probably shouldn't have said that, because now you can't unsay it. But in that video there's many other ways that you can make pen holders. This one is from that video, so it was my inspiration piece. It doesn't have to be book pages, and also in that video I'll show you methods of how you can have string on the back so it can be attached to your journal, and then you can, you know, This is very easy to do. It's just a simple folding kind of a technique, which I go into more detail in that video, but sometimes I don't even remember how do I do that. And you kind of really know what you're gonna get, you know. So you can see that they're all slightly different. Like this point ends here, this point goes all the way over here to the back. But that's the beauty of this kind of thing we're doing over here, right? So how cool is that? So for each pen holder, because again, book pages are very flimsy, especially these, you know, old books. You don't want to use one page. Basically, you want to do 2 pages, maybe even 3 pages. But all of these are 2 pages, and I'm quite happy with this sturdiness. Perhaps 3 pages would be together. And I don't glue the pages down because they do need movement. You can probably see here better. When you're doing all sorts of folding and stuff, paper moves. It needs to move. And then you have kind of uneven edges like this, which I love. I love that look. And that's why I ink everything. So you can even really like see that. And also because I ink everything anyway. What do you think? Isn't that cool? And then you just embellish with a little something. That's why I have this, to show you. A little flower perhaps, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I have little pens in there. Very cute little gifts. Like a little Christmas gift, you know? A little pen holder. Or a colleague or teacher, you know? Teacher's gifts. All right, moving along. Number 13 already. Well, since we're already kind of halfway, I just wanted to say that I went nuts making these projects, not these in particular, but like this whole book project kind of thing, that I was creatively, like, it was pouring out. And I spent hours and hours and hours and hours doing this, like that one category, handmade paper, 2 hours of just making the paper. Now, that doesn't count the setting everything up, getting all the water ready, taking the blender and blending and drying, and you know, it doesn't, none of that. It's just me making paper 2 hours. So anyway, I have pains in my whole body, basically. My wrists, my knee, my hips, legs, everything hurts, but it was so worth it because all these things that came out. Okay, enough talking. What we have here, as you have noticed, I'm sure, is loaded pockets. So I don't know if I think I might have a video on that, but there's no need to watch any video because it's very, very straightforward. Let me show you. First of all, one of the pages, which is the back page, I actually backed it with some tea dye paper because all of this is held, you know, pretty much by one page. And again, very flimsy. So the back page should be reinforced. I'm gonna do a little demonstrato. I'm sure you know how to make this, but just in case. Here's my back page that, let's pretend I have already reinforced it with another page. And now to make the pockets, I fold this down, and we want sturdiness over here because whenever you're opening a pocket to put something on, you're putting stress on this paper. If that's just one flimsy sheet of book page, it's going to rip. So you want to keep, you don't want to just cut that off. You want to keep this. And I also like to go ahead and add glue to glue this down so there's no air inside, so that they're nicely married and not moving, and that gives it more sturdiness. And then of course I ink the edge, and there's one. And now we're just, I mean, you can't see, now you can see a little bit better what's going on. I'm sure you don't need instruction, it's very straightforward, but here we go. That's your first pocket, and now you're just going to cascade down, and each time you fold your page, you want to fold it more down. It really depends on how much space you want in between, and you're going to be neater than this. And then, you know, and you want to make sure you hold straight, and then you can go ahead and chop the edges, which is what I did. I only have writing mostly rather than any of this white space business. And then when you have all of your things set down, you take it to your sewing machine and you sew all the way around, and that's it. Everything is in place. If you don't have a sewing machine, then you don't sew all the way around. You just simply use glue for each pocket. You're ready with this one. You're going to put some glue down onto the 3 sides, glue down. You're going to get the next one. You're going to do the glue. You're going to glue down, so on and so forth. Everything can be done without a sewing machine, but I implore you to get a sewing machine, because sewing machine, the best, absolutely best purchase of my life. And let me tell you, I bought that sewing machine having never touched a sewing machine in my life. Went to the shop and bought the cheapest sewing machine, which is my Elna. Came home and started sewing on paper. Never even touched fabric. All right, and then what you can see here in the bottom pocket is a little bit of embellishing. This is like see-through washi tape. And then on this one we have flowers. Look at this. How simple is that? But it looks glorious. I think it's just so beautiful. I can't get enough of it, especially this one with the flowers. I can't get enough. You can make little packs of a pen holder and this, and a little journal and that, to sell in your Etsy shop. In fact, that's what I'm going to do with all of these things that I made. When I get a chance to do it, I'm going to make packs, and I'm going to have this and that thing I made and that thing, all book page related. I think that's a pretty cool idea. You can do gifts for colleagues or craft fairs, and, you know, sell and whatnot. Number 14 is, can you guess? Covering your book pages with napkin. So this is most definitely nothing new, and you've probably seen it done before, and you've probably done it yourself before, but I just had to include this category because I'd be silly not to, right? Because the result is stunning. Look at this, and beautiful. So I'm going to link down a video. I've done a couple of videos on decoupaging napkins onto things. It doesn't have to be book pages. It can be anything really. And usually what I do is a mixture of usually what I use, I should say, is a mixture of PVA glue with water. So just white school glue mixed with water, and then you wet the page. In fact, that's how I did this one here. And you can use Mod Podge, you can use anything really. What happens with any water-based medium is that your pages are going to warp, which is what happened with this one. You simply lay it under something heavy. You can't really see, but it's definitely not flat. So what I tried to do, just to see what's going to happen, is instead of using a water-based glue, I use glue stick. Now, some glue sticks also warp paper, and the only way that you will know if your glue stick warps paper is to test it out. So just glue something down, come back to it 30 minutes later, and you'll see if your paper warps. I found a glue stick, really cheap glue stick at Kmart here in Aussie land, and this glue stick, I don't know why, I don't know what the ingredients are, because there's no ingredients, but for some reason this glue stick does not warp paper, whereas this one does, and this one does, and this one does, and this one does, and you know, it's just a trial and error, trying it out. So, and by the way, even if your glue stick or whatever glue you use does warp your page, you can always lay it under something heavy and Bob's your uncle, you know. But I wanted to say that I used glue stick on this one, and then what happens is that because the napkin doesn't get completely wet, you can see the difference between this writing, and you can see it here on this one. What can you see? What am I trying to say? This writing looks a little bit more muted than this one here, because this one was saturated in wetness, and this one was just glue stick. So I don't know, what do you prefer? So the way that I did it, I applied glue stick on my book page and laid my napkin down. And then, just to make sure, I went over the whole thing again with glue stick. Just don't want that napkin. I don't trust glue stick, if I'm being honest, but let's see. The plan was to sew over this, just to make sure. I'm trying to see if I can peel it off. And I have to say, this glue stick is pretty darn good. So that's the napkin business. I mean, I don't think there's anything more to say. You can rip the edges like this, and you know, you can use these as pockets, journaling spots, and you can use them as pages in your journals and all sorts of different things. Moving along. Number 15 is book page bows. Now, this is a tutorial that I did a little while ago, and it was a little bit cringe last night when I was watching it. I had to remind myself, how do I make those bows? So I watched my own video and I was cringe town, as usually is when you listen to your own voice, especially from years ago. Anyway, what is it? Well, it's a book page bow, but wait, it's a paper clip. Isn't that just genius? And then you can paper clip it onto glassine bags and envelopes and journal pages and so on and so forth. And it's so easy and quick to make, and I could probably just demonstrate right now, but I'm not gonna, because I've already done a full video on making book page bows, and I'm going to link that video down below, hoping that you're going to go ahead and you can go ahead and watch and cringe away, my friends. Cringe away. I'm just kidding, it's not that bad. So one bow like this, one book page, and I would say it takes about 1 minute when you know what you're doing. And that video isn't very long, it's 11 minutes long, and it's straight to point, so not dragged out like nowadays. I was a little bit shy back then, hiding my true identity of too much speakage. All right, let's move on. We are up to number 16, which is journal pages. All right, so these condensed Reader's Digest books come with pages like these and these and these. I just love that. But your book doesn't have to, you know, have these colored pages in them, and I'll show you in a moment. But basically what I did here, and I've been doing this for years, is I make pages for my journals, so for my, you know, signatures, and then I bind these pages into my journals. They look absolutely beautiful. And of course on the other side is writing space. So basically I just cut down the book pages and glue them onto a piece of paper, and then I sew around. Of course you don't have to sew around, but you can, because it looks so nice. And then you have this kind of thing. Like I said, you don't have to have those full color pages. You can just use just a book page with writing, and then put a little bit of a sticker on, and off you go. Look how beautiful that looks. This is also cool to do for those scrapbook papers that are not very nice. Like this one here has, I don't know, something that's not that great, but it had this beautiful colored side on the other side, and then I just, you know, I just did this kind of thing. Just a book page and a sticker on top, and I create this gorgeous little thing, which on its own can be a little signature in your journal. Lovely, isn't it? Isn't it sweet? So now that we're sort of halfway, a little bit more than halfway, please let me know what you think so far. Are you getting inspired, and are there some things that you perhaps haven't seen before? Let me know, speak to me, whisper in my ear. Category number 17 is a multi-pocket. Didn't really know what else to call it, but I'll show you what it is. By the way, this list, I'm gonna have it up on screen at the end of the video, so you don't have to, you know, you can just take a screenshot. All right, multi-pocket. What is it? Well, it is this. Ooh, isn't that cool? It's just a pocket that I made. I actually made 4 pockets, and then I stuck them together in the middle. And then this kind of thing you can have on the inside of your journal cover, for example, or it can be a standalone project like this one here. I did this in a tutorial where I used newspapers to create all sorts of fun things. And this one has like its own little, you know, it's a standalone project. It has a board at the back and then all sorts of fun stuff. But here I use newspaper I'm not sure if I actually did a tutorial. I know this was part of that newspaper video, but I can't remember if I actually did it on screen or if I just showed it. So basically, you take 2 pages out of your book, straighten out the edge and all that kind of thing. You can glue them together to make it into a pocket. I sewed around all of them, as you can see. So 2 pages create 1 pocket. For this project, I have 4 pockets, so 8 pages. And then all you do, we have to pretend that this is already made into a pocket, and we have 4 of them, or 2 or 3 or 10, totally up to you. And then you start from the bottom pocket and you apply glue right here in the middle. You can also use double-sided tape. I just used glue right there in the middle, just 1 line. You grab your next pocket, you put it on top, line it up, apply glue, and then you grab your 3rd pocket, and so on and so forth. Really easy and quick. And for this one, to make it special, I lined it with some beautiful vellum paper that I have. Look at how beautiful this is. And then I just placed it on top of the book page, and then on top of this I placed the sticker. And that's what we have here. Perhaps you can even use your beeswax page. If you make some of these, that can be your top. Then you have your little whatever, you know, sticker or some embellishment, and lovely. And then again, it can be a standalone project, or you can have it inside of a journal. It can be stuck onto the front cover, let's say here right at the start. So you glue the whole back down. We have to pretend that's glued down, and then when you open it, you have this. You have this at your, you know, front cover, or anywhere really inside the journal. Quite fun. Moving along. Number 18 is bookmarks, and I know you knew it was coming. Lovely, lovely, lovely bookmarks. Look at this. They are all laminated individually and very easy to make, of course. You don't have to laminate them. You can just use contact paper and go to town with the little thing up the top and a little brad. Mine have brads and stickers and ribbon up the top, and they're laminated and they're sturdy and they're gonna last forever. So how I did this is 1 book page, and then I just fold it in 3, however wide you want, you know. I didn't do that very well, but we're just demonstrating. And then you go ahead and then you ink your edges. And then also what I did, as you can see, I got rid of these white bits down the bottom and up the top so that I can have only the writing. And I try to choose book pages that don't have this white space. So that's the kind of thing I'm kind of looking at as well. So you can see full writing here, a little bit of space here, but I want mostly words and, you know, a little bit of space here, but mostly words, none of this kind of business, just a minor detail. And then you put a sticker on. You can do a little die cut. I have stickers. This is a die cut, a gold, beautiful little die cut, mostly stickers actually. All of these are stickers. And then you laminate, or you cover with contact paper or sticky back plastic, in which case, and in fact I think I did it for all of them, I applied glue kind of all over, not just randomly like I did now, and glued it down nice and stirred. That word now officially replaces gorge. It's stirred. Anyway, bookmarks, stirred bookmarks. Number 19 is pouches. Pretty much similar to what I explained before in the multi-pocket, only these are standalone pouches, and they are, you guessed it, very stirred, because I covered them in contact paper. And look, a little pouch. It's a little pouch that you can use for many different things, but of course I'm going to use them in my journals. I have these beautiful large stickers that come from Tapeology. I am in love with these stickers. The link is down below if you want to have a look at Tapeology stuff. Don't forget the code as well, discount code. All of the information is down below. But you don't need the stickers. You can just do this. I mean, it doesn't have to be stickers. It can be magazine images. It can be watercoloring, your own artwork. I'm sure you can think of many other things that you can use instead of stickers if you don't have any. But with the contact paper, in this video that I did last week where we made these journals from scratch, I also used the contact paper. It looks laminated, but actually it's just this book covering adhesive, just this stuff. And I show in that video an easy process of applying it nice and flat and no bubbles and all that kind of thing. And many of you have said that it's very helpful to do it that way, or that you didn't know that that's an easy way of applying contact paper. Anyway, have a look at that. And that's how I applied contact paper on these book pages as well. And an extra thing that I did over here, if you have a look inside, we're going to have a little peek. I have contact paper on the outside, but I also overlapped. It's very hard to show in the video, but the contact paper stops about there. I'll move my finger out of the way. You can see that faint line. So the contact paper is on the outside and over the top, because I didn't want to go through the extra step of sewing all of these individual tops, because the contact paper will peel off and that's really annoying. So here's my little leftover contact paper from the project. We have to pretend that this paper is large enough, you know, as larger than this book page. And basically what I do is I apply the contact paper all over, right, all over the book page. I cut the sides, but then the top I fold in. So the outside is fully covered with contact paper, and the inside, that top is protected, but it doesn't go all the way down because, you know, I mean, you can if you want to, but for me, the most important thing is, of course, the outside and then this section here. Because when you go to put stuff in, you want it to be stirred. You don't want it to be ripping and peeling and all that stuff. But look how beautiful this looks, doesn't it? Number 20 is journaling spots. Also really quite straightforward and similar to all the other things I've shown you. So I started off using the images that I had in my book, and then I glued onto like a tea dyed or a coffee dyed or whatever piece of scrap cardstock. And what I mean by that is I have this folder here where I have things like this that I have tea dyed. Calendar pages and like this kind of stuff that has, or even greeting cards. You can see like lots of greeting cards, because then I can stick something on top and I have this beautiful backing. So I just have this in this little folder, and then I can just, you know, I'm not throwing away, I'm using things, and even like books that I've used up and things like this. So then I can use it basically, because absolutely everything gets used up in this craft room. And like I said, they are journaling spots designed to be clipped into your journal onto pages or popped into pockets and journaled at the back. As you can see, I used the images that I had in my book, but again, you know, you can do this kind of thing. Again, those large stickers that I absolutely love. I just love them. Like one sticker and the project is done. Look at how gorgeous this looks. And this one here, I even utilized a little bit of that backing paper that, you know, it had this stamp on it. It was like a certificate for this thing that I did, and then I get, you know, this. Anyway, that's beside the point. How beautiful. Journaling spots. I'm sure you've made these before, so let's not dwell. Category number 21, I'm running out of space here, is die cuts. All right, bear with me on this one. I have some lovely examples to show you. First of all, I got out my die cuts and I used the 3 pages glued together that I've spoken about before. You can see this, that's that die cut right there. And then I used my, you know, whatever you have. I had these flowers, circles, all sorts of stuff. So what did I make? I made a card. This was a little tab die cut that I used here. Just a little simple card with a sticker and a bit of book page and just a tab. Then I made another card. This is layered 3 different images, or not images, die cuts, like 2 of these oval ones, and then an image from a book. Lovely, lovely. Then for this one, I have this butterfly die cut, and I just did 3, you know, the dies and layered the butterflies and So on this little thing, and I have a bit of cheesecloth, and I made another card. By the way, if you don't have die cuts and die cutting machine, you can stick your 3 pages together and just cut out your shapes by scissors or using scissors. Like, look, before I had my die cuts, I made myself templates. These are all my circle templates. I used this to cut out shapes. Then I had cereal box, you know, hearts. So you don't have to have any special machine or anything like that. Perhaps for more intricate things like what I'm about to show you next, which is this here. Perhaps you can't really cut that out by hand, but you can make do with what you have, is what I'm saying basically. So here I made, but this is a journal. I actually made a whole journal. You can see why it took a long time to make this project, because I couldn't just do die cuts and call it done. I had to have something that is going to inspire you when I show you the project. I'm hoping you are getting inspired. So these are all just die cuts, little flowers, little circles, and I just inked everything and glued it down and made, you know, a journal cover. This is just scrapbook paper, quite sturdy, like cardstock scrapbook paper, and there we go. Isn't that sweet? What do you think? Like, even just that, look at that, how cool that even looks better. You can do something like this, make your card, stick it down in a journal, and then you have this opening section. That is so cool. Like, basically I wanted to have projects that I can show you rather than just say die cut. I'm sure you know that you can use your, if you have your die cutting machine and die cuts and stuff, I'm sure you know that you can use it for book pages, right? So that's why I kind of went a little bit extra with all these projects, just so I can really inspire you. I'm really hoping that you're getting lots of inspiration and lots of ideas on your future projects or for your future projects. Please, please, please let me know. How do you feel? How do you feel? Number 22 is belly bands. And this is another one of those where I'm sure you know that you can use book pages to make belly bands, but I wanted to create something to provide a little bit more inspiration. So I have 5 belly bands that are ready to go into my journal, and just to demonstrate, here's a journal I'm currently making. It's not bound yet, and I have a page in here. I did this in a video where a laminated lace video, and this is a belly band. And then you have this beautiful thing, just on its own it looks amazing, and then you can go and you can do and all sorts of fun stuff and then tuck it in. Okay, that's a belly band. You can have them running this way like so, and then you tuck stuff in this way. Look how beautiful this looks. And it doesn't even have to go from top to bottom, like it can be a shorter belly band. Book pages, you know, they're quite short, so you glue the top and bottom down, and then you have a little belly band. So you do it exactly the same way as I demonstrated before with the bookmarks. You fold it in 3, you ink the edges. You want it sturdy. You don't want like flimsy book page that's going to tear every time you go to put something in. So stirred is the word of the day. Perhaps that's not actually, doesn't sound too good, does it? And then on this one, exactly the same thing as this one, the trim that I have. It doesn't look beautiful like this. What I'm trying to say is that it has this unfinished edge. So then, you know, I glue one down like this, or actually coming off the book page, and then the other side like this. Gorgeous. And then off I go. Look how beautiful. And then when that's all glued down, I just sew everything together, top and bottom. You can see just a little bit of sewing, top and bottom. That's the back. No one's ever going to see the back, but this here it's important to glue, just like I said before with the bookmarks. Glue everything down so that you don't have this kind of thing happening, and then when you go to put something in the pocket, it gets stuck in there. So my backs, all of them are glued, so nothing can get stuck once this is glued on and I'm putting things in. How gorgeous is this? What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe slightly shabby chic. I'm thinking maybe like a Victorian lady kind of a, you know, wedding kind of thing. Like, it's just gorgeous, beautiful. Number 23 is buttons. I think I have a little bit of an obsession with whimsical houses and buttons. I hope you don't have a button phobia, in which case, sorry that I'm so up close. So what we have here, as you may have gathered, is little buttons. And again, 3 pages glued together and cut out. Made 2 little circles there in the middle and put through some eyelets. You don't have to have the eyelets, you can just outline the circle and you have yourself a little button or a few little buttons. Oh, and the ideas on what you can do with these buttons are endless. In fact, I have a video where I made oversized buttons and then what you can do with them. So I'll link the what can you do with the buttons video down below if you want to get lots of ideas. And then what I have over here, they probably just don't fall into this category, they're more like charms, but I just cut out little circles of the book page and glued some buttons on there. And I have them on this bulb pin. You can do little earrings, you know, you can do I'm liking this idea already, something like this. Sweet. Oh, there's only 2 more categories to go, and then I have a couple of random things to show you. Number 24 is coin pockets. I don't know what else to call them, so I'm just calling them coin pockets. It's these little, you know, little pockets. Maybe they're like more like tag pockets. Little baggy things. What would you call them? So anyway, this one has the envelope. I did the napkin thing first and then I made it into this project. So that's another thing that you can do with those napkin pages. And they are just, like I said, little pockets. They can be clipped into journals and you can have a little tag in there. I call them coin pockets or like coin envelopes because that's kind of what it reminds me of. This one's got some stamping. This one's got washi tape, that clear PET washi tape, and stickers and a little paper doily over here. I mean, this is just embellishing stage where you can just let your imagination run wild, but just very quickly. I feel like doing a little demonstrato of how I make them because it's so quick, right? Even though I have a tutorial on this particular thing. Here's what we do. You do the foldage like that. I like to get all the way to the writing. I just like that. Then you can do yourself a little notch. Now this paper thing it's very dull. So I tried all the remedies and I ended up buying a new one, but here we go. You make a little notch just so it's easier to get inside. You ink the edges and then at the back you fold it up to however short or long you want it. You cut on an angle like so. And now I like to get rid of the inside part just so it's less bulky. Not necessary, but I fold it in and fold it up. And ink all the edges. Oh well, just ink those edges and then apply a little bit of glue and glue it down. And then glue this down and then glue this down. And there's your little pocket, you know? Very simple and easy. And then of course you want to make it pretty by stamping or napkin or paper doily or sticker or washi tape or anything that comes to mind. I have one last thing to show you, a finale if you will, number 25. But what I'm about to show you is not the finale. It's just random things that I didn't include in my list. So I'm just going to show, I actually forgot about this, so I'm going to show you anyway. This is a flip down envelope type of a thing. So the idea is that you have, you can make an envelope here. It can be an envelope. And it also has contact paper and it's made exactly the same way as these journals. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't bind the pages in and do the closure and all that kind of stuff. So I left this one as a flip down envelope. So that's a random little project that you can do. It can be a little pouch, it can be a little wallet. You can make a little wallet, you know. And then another one that I did is this kind of a pouchy thing. It's just a random thing. I don't have a name for it, but basically I used one of my painty papers. This kind of thing where you just paint, but then you have the other side which is all splattered and ugly looking, or this one isn't that ugly looking on the inside. Anyway, so I made it into this pouch and I put a book page down here, but I went a little bit overboard with the stenciling, so you can't even see that it's a book page. But anyway, it's just a little thing. And then here we have a journaling spot, just a book page, stuck down onto some of that tea dyed, coffee dyed, whatever, cardstock, you know, and then I have a little image there. And it's just a little thing with, you know, a little fun little thing. If you want to see a tutorial of any of these, and if I don't already have a tutorial, like I said before, please let me know and I shall get to it. Okay, now the grand finale. All the projects you've just seen I made with text block, and I used all of the pages, and then I was left with this. So the grand finale is journal cover, and it's not even that exciting to be called the grand finale, but we shall give it some fireworks, shall we not? Woohoo! Okay, here's what I did. I made a journal cover ready to go. It's not finished. I didn't bind any pages in. I simply, perhaps this is a tutorial that you want to see. I simply covered the book with fabric, this beautiful batik, I think it's called fabric. I have some corner protectors. I have a little thing here. This is cork and cardstock and just some random little sticker and a book plate. And over here I have, these are actually picture frame hangers that I get from a $2 shop, but they're fabulous for adding tassels and all sorts of stuff to your journals, even something like this. So this is an example of the whole cover completely covered, because sometimes, like in the case of this cover that I used, you can't use the cover as it is because it's got writing or it's got something that you don't like, or you know, the spine is falling apart like this one. This one I probably wouldn't fully cover. I would just cover the spine, and why not? I mean, this looks beautiful, and perhaps I wouldn't be covering this one. But anyway, there it is, the final project, this lovely beauty. All right, let's recap. Number 1 is texture. Number 2 is a ruffle roll. Number 3 are circle embellishments. Number 4 is beeswax. Number 5 is envelopes. Number 6 is charms. Number 7 is a masterboard. Number 8 is stamping over book pages. Number 9 is tags. Number 10 is journals. Number 11 is handmade paper. Number 12, pen holders. Number 13, loaded pockets. Number 14, napkins. Number 15, book page bows. Number 16, journal pages. Number 17, multi-pocket. Number 18, bookmarks. Number 19, pouches. Number 20, journaling spots. Number 21, die cuts. Number 22, belly bands. Number 23, buttons. Number 24, coin pockets. Then we have random stuff. And number 25 is the journal cover. Unfortunately, I can't fit it all on screen, but I really want to. Okay, I zoomed out a little bit and still you can't see everything. There is a literal mountain of stuff on my desk. All of this from one book. One book. And I have to say, like I said already, I used up the whole book. But I didn't explore all the ideas because I used up the whole book. There's plenty of other things. And in fact, I think I have video, I know for a fact, on these. And this is also using book pages. And just in case if you're not feeling overwhelmed already, well, let me introduce you to this simple little fold that I have a video on. I'm going to link it down below. Anyway, look at this. Oh, look, book pages. Book pages. All these projects came from one little idea, which is this. And I didn't even include it in this video. Well, I did now, didn't I? How about this? Journal toppers. This is another video. A topic, or a category rather, that we didn't even touch on today. Journal toppers. Here's another one. Here's another one. Whimsical mason jars. Just another video. I mean, you know, I use a lot of books. Look at this. Are you feeling overwhelmed yet? I'm telling you, a mountain of stuff There is more, but I'll stop now because I'm telling you, sky's the limit and possibilities are absolutely endless. And I think I might actually make a playlist of just the book page projects, and this video is going to be in that playlist as well. So I need to hear your thoughts. Like I need you to tell me your thoughts. What do you think of the projects? And what do you think of the video? Is it too much of a bombardment of ideas? Because that's how I felt when I'll put this up on screen in a second. That's how I felt when I was making this. I was bombarded with all the ideas of all the different possible things that I could make, and I just wanted to make all the things. But I think I did it a little bit at a detriment of my own self, I suppose, because I am in pain from all the sitting down and just madness, working, ripping, inking, working, like just madness. But when the creative muse calls, and she's not gonna wait around. She ain't waiting around. All right, I'm gonna leave it here for today. I'm gonna put this up on screen now so you can have a copy, you can take a screenshot, write it down so that you can keep these ideas floating in your mind so you don't forget. There we go. Please let me know what is your favorite project of all of these 25 categories that I covered today. Also share your own ideas in the comment section down below, and of course let me know what you think. Do you feel inspired and all that kind of jazz? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.